Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I request you to kindly take your seats. We have to begin the panel discussion on trade fair marketing as soon as possible now. I request Mr. Rajiv Malhotra, Honorary Secretary, IEIA, and Mr. Sanjeev Agrawal, Executive Committee Member, IEIA, to kindly join us on the dais for the panel discussion. I also request Mr. K.V. Nagendra Rao to please join us on the dais. I request Mr. K.V. Nagendra Prasad to also kindly join us on the dais.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I request you to come forward? We are going to have a very exciting session in a very different format. It's not going to be a panel discussion. We are going to have an open forum. We are going to come down right there and going to interact with you all. So you'll have your opportunity to speak. You can ask questions. You can share your views, experiences. So it's going to be very lively. Please come forward. And please bring your cups if you are still having your tea or coffee. Please take the forward tables.
Check.
KV, are you around? Please come up. So while you take your seats, may I request? Yeah.
I have another panelist.
Yeah,
Mr.
please.
Sai Doma. He heads Times of India in Hyderabad. He is considered to be.
Wonderful. So we have a excellent, I would not call them panelists because we are not going to have a panel discussion in a conventional way. We are going to come right down there. We'll be all at the same level and discussing some of the most challenging, issues being faced by the industry and some of the most important aspects, because marketing, they say marketing is business and you are only as good as marketing. So may I now request my colleague Rajiv to explain the concept a little bit.
Thank you, Sanjeev. No, you have already done my bit, so I think I can relax. I can have another cup of coffee while people come in. Are we all here? I don't think so. I think the hall was pretty full in the morning or in the afternoon. One last call. Can we have all of you here and take your seats, please? And we are going to start.
KV, name of the other person, or you can announce who is joining. Oh, we'll manage it on the ground. 30 minutes, yeah.
Since the program is slightly delayed, we'll just maybe reduce the time to about 45 minutes in all. And we'll have some questions also from all of, we'll pose questions to all of you also. Hello.
Mr. Sai Doma. It's Times.
Mr. Sai Doma from Times of India is also joining us. So thank you. Please.
Yeah. So as we said, we just want to spend only a few seconds here, but we want to come down and discuss at the same level what are the problems and prospects of marketing trade shows.
Yeah, marketing of trade shows, trade exhibitions in 21st century. I mean, 21st century, when everything is going at breakneck speed, things are changing every day. You get up in the morning with a brilliant idea and you realize that by the time it's lunch, someone else has a better idea than you, so you are out of business. So what do we do? What do we do in a scenario like this? Let me start maybe with Sanjeev. Sanjeev, you can give us some perspective just to set the ball rolling. What do you think, how do you interpret this topic which we have, marketing of trade fairs in 21st century? From an organizer's perspective and the fact that, I mean, especially maybe even talking in terms of the kind of shows that you do, travel shows, how do you think marketing of trade shows can be done effectively in the 21st century?
Right. Frankly, for me, it's a very intriguing question. I see it at two levels. So one is that trade show as such. How do I stay relevant? As a trade show organizer, this is, I think, the biggest question, and I'm sure that's a question before all of us. And although it is oft repeated, but in this department only the paranoid would succeed. Or stay. So I was looking at some research. And there are broadly two views. And it is quite diverse, so to say. And in between there are maybe many views, So one is a kind of a pessimistic view, which says that, look, party is over, but let's play it till the time we can. So we are already, trade shows are already obsolete, and, it's quite like print. In many countries, print is almost dead or dying. So the trade shows are a relic of the past, and so many would not agree, but in Western countries, many of the newspapers are closing down, not yet in India, So the party is over, play it till the time you can. And on the other hand, there are very positive, optimistic views, and including some very recent university research, one done by Cornell in the USA, where they say that no, trade shows are alive. They are not only alive, they are thriving and kicking, because what trade fairs do, only trade fairs can do. So it's like you're shaking hands, demonstration, touch and feel. And in fact, what is most promising is that there is one view which says that in the age of internet, when our day-to-day business is more and more conducted online, there is probably a more need, and the increased need for us to assemble once in a while, let's say once in a year, in a forum like this, or in an exhibition or meeting where we shake hands, So that positive view says that, on the contrary, we may be growing, So not only we are alive, but we are thriving and kicking, and we may be growing, And at the ground level, as an organizer, when I go to market my shows, I sometimes have to start with this broad view and trying to get the attention of a client that, why trade shows? And they say that typically they would say, okay, this is below the line, so I would deal with you. Sometimes there is a confusion that whether the advertising agency would deal, and we'll have to convince the advertising agency how this medium would compete with, let's say, print or television or internet. But most of the times it is below the line, decided by the client. So we say that, look, this is actually not an indirect medium. This is a direct medium for converting, your exercise into actual leads or sales. So it's an extension of your sales activity rather than a media activity.
Okay.
So
let me just ask Sai. He made a very interesting remark, and you seem to disagree totally. That when he talked about print media being, on the verge of dying in certain countries. What's your take on that? And then to elaborate on that, and maybe to extend the discussion further, what's your view on trade fair marketing?
First, I'd like to answer the first question first. Yes. I think, we all have our own right to our own viewpoint.
Yes.
Fact of the matter is that print is growing. The media spends are growing. So year on year, all the print publications are growing. And interestingly enough, I think in India, why it's still there, I think you made a very valid comparison to the West. Here, 6:30, the paper is delivered at your house. Yeah. Okay. And today there's so many people who would get up, and if they don't find the paper,
we can't do without it.
Correct. So,
literally.
So there is scope. Print is growing. The figures, the numbers state that. And so I wouldn't, of course, agree that print is dying, because it's growing.
Yeah, in India. Yeah.
In India. And if I, let's say, talk about our own publication, we do a lot of innovations. We have Alive, which really takes you into the digital sphere. So there are a lot of things which, people expand. So the market grows. And of course, we are just a medium. So as long as the interest of the clients and the consumers is there, I'm sure there's a need. And if there's a need, then we are there. So
And so, may I ask a supplement question here that who is growing faster, the Times of India newspaper or Times TV, Times Television?
the mass is still there. But, when you look at percentages at a higher base, obviously the rate of growth for a higher base product is, not that great.
So in other words, television is growing faster, right?
I wouldn't say that because the value is ultimately what is important, and the value is still with print.
Okay.
Can I ask a question to Sai? One interesting point that Rajiv mentioned. As print exhibitions, we compete in a way. Our objective is to increase the ROI of people who are our exhibitors or your people who advertise. But we also complement. We compete, we complement. Without print, we can't survive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And we give also business to you.
Absolutely.
So we are also required for you. So can you give your viewpoint on this?
I would rather, agree wholly with you that, we complement each other. Ultimately, we are doing it here. But let's say there are a lot of people who are not here. How do they come to know?
Sure.
So unless until
Okay.
it gets published and, printed.
Let us just ask
Yeah,
the
so
questions.
we come down and
We come down
go around
and-
and take the views.
And of course, these were different views, but sticking to the topic, which is trade fair marketing in 21st century.
So
I mean, it
here-
can be interpreted in different ways. I'm just going towards my friend Balwinder from FICCI to have his view, because FICCI, of course, is one of the largest players in India in trade fairs. So,
Hi, Rajiv.
hi.
Hello. I feel the marketing, we need to be more aggressive. We need to reach out to first exhibitors and sector-specific associations, and then get right visitors. Get the wish list from each exhibitor. Whom do you really want to see in the exhibition? In case we do that right, I think we'll get our objective right.
Yeah, I think you are very right.
So, Rajiv, may I announce a little ground rule that anyone can speak anytime. So you just need to raise your hand or stand up and we'll come running
You can
right
interrupt
there.
us, you can do whatever. We are just here to facilitate, to get things out of you, to get all the ideas out of you.
So it's as much a learning experience for
Yes.
us. May I now, Rajiv, may I come to David
Okay.
for his view on
Yeah.
this, the question I raised.
Thank you again. One of the things that I want, one of the suggestions I want to put out is to make sure not only at the university level where there are hospitality schools that are teaching tourism, teaching hotel management, teaching restaurant management, that IEIA, working with the industry organizations like ourselves and UFI and others, that have content that can be taught at the undergraduate school level in the hospitality schools, I suggest that we become more proactive to do that, because as was mentioned, the ladies and gentlemen who are going to take our jobs, at my age I only have about 10 more years to work, but are they going to take our jobs? So those ladies and gentlemen have to be trained. They have to understand that there is an exhibition industry career. How many of us in this room went to university to study exhibition management? Nobody. I don't see anybody raising their hands. Oh, there's a couple. Very good. My other suggestion, and something that we're doing that is probably a phase 2, is to present the exhibition industry to business schools, marketing departments. You touched on it here. I touched on it in my slide where I showed that the percentage of growth of social media versus trade shows and events. is significant. We need to get in front of the ladies and gentlemen, the professors who are teaching marketing courses for undergrad and MBA courses. We are working with the Society of Independent Show Organizers in the States at Pepperdine University in California. For the first module, it's the first time we're going to teach an MBA class, 2 different 2-hour modules about the exhibition industry, because the ladies and gentlemen who are going to be the chief marketing officers for organizations now and in the future are going to make decisions on how their monies are spent. We have to be at the table. We have to show value in the proof of augmenting the print, the media, the online, and making sure that we ensure that the students in marketing programs today understand how important the piece of exhibitions and face-to-face and commerce is in the overall sales and marketing effort.
Yeah, thank you very much, David. So any one of you want to
You can
say
introduce
anything?
yourself and
There.
Hi, I am Raghav Khosla, and I represent Exhibition Showcase. It's a monthly magazine on the exhibition industry, and I was going through the discussion that you people are having, that there's a competition between print and online. But I ask you one thing: why and where is the need to compete? These both are different platforms with their different leveraging capabilities. Do we ever think that, both of them have a different value proposition to offer to the clients? I may go to an extent to say that print, traditionally, it is a known fact that offers you more brand perception over any other traditional mediums available. That for that reason, we even see Google advertising in Times of India, and that's a known fact. Most of the companies, Pepsi, or name a top brand, they are going in the print. I don't say that, print is dying, but yes, online is catching up, and the rate of growth in online is the fastest. Thank you.
thank you very much, Raghav.
So this side, maybe have a different perspective. How the venue owners, how do they market? So I have Sudeep Sarkar. He manages and markets one of the biggest venue in Noida, NCR. So how do you market venues? What are the challenges you face, Sudeep?
Thanks, Sajib. Since you were standing, I'll also stand up. I'll be able to tell you in this manner that the marketing of any venue is very venue-centric. Since most of the desired standards of any venue are given, be it nationally, internationally, it is how you position yourself in the market and what are the various services that you can give as an augmentation to the organizer. That's how it matters. I'm sure most of the other venues are in the similar path, be it in terms of pricing, or you can call it, the augmentation of various event logistics at the venue, and the local coordination from the local authorities in terms of, making the facilities and the licenses, whatever are required, or maybe a package price that is needed for, making, offering or getting a conference. So these are the various, marketing strategies that we have. If you look at another very important thing that we offer to the organizer is, a no competition clause. That goes in a very long way in making the organizer market their, shows in a very, big, broad manner without worrying about another poacher at the venue. So in terms of, packagings, we have been able to bag World Dental Congresses and many other conferences where the package is inclusive of the 2-time tea, coffee, and the F&B and the entire hall rental and air conditioning, be it all support logistic services. So, it's a multi-purpose venue. So be it a B2B, be a B2C, or product launches or conferences or annual general meetings or sales meet, we need to propose, position us accordingly and give a very highly competitive pricing. So that, makes us, that shall make us unique in the value proposition. That's what are the various marketing approaches that we have. Many such events that have come to us, have a 10-year-long contracting period wherein we have very highly subsidized hall rental against the 10-year contracting or the commitments given by the client. Then we have events wherein we cannot take any other event during that time period. Be it, you can call it, BC Expo, or maybe Auto Expo that we have. So that leaves them with a larger, worrying. I mean, that leaves them with a larger worrying that they can, expand, market their event in a very grand manner, wherein they are fully sure that we don't take any other events during those days. So these are the various perspectives. I believe packaging, the services that you give, and the local authorities help, and the no competition clause. These are the four major elements that plays a major role in my venue. I'm sure others would be able to add
Okay.
on their comments.
Okay, so we have now three, just to sum it up, so far the discussion that has thrown three important aspects which help in marketing of the trade shows. One is training. Training, as David mentioned, the training is definitely an important part. We need to have people who can replace us effectively, for the long-term growth. Then we have, as Sudeep mentioned, packages offered by venue owners. So not just venue as trade fair center as a venue, but even as a complete package of services which ensure that in the long term, the organizers maybe do not have to bother about where to go, where to look for good products, and maybe they can concentrate on activities which are, directly under their own hand. Then we have also, initially when we spoke with the Times of India representative, Sai Doma, he is of the view that, okay, print media is obviously not dying. Raghav mentioned, and even our dear friend KV mentioned that the idea is also to collaborate. Print media and trade fairs, they go together. So why think of them as competing with each other, but maybe even in terms of, collaboration to make the trade shows grow.
So we have here, other venue organizers. So may I request Mr. Anbu to share some ideas that how do, you see, we heard this very important topic of, team protection. This is, I think, the big issue in India, So we have our issues with ITPO. You heard a little bit about this competition commission litigation going on where, we are saying that, look, it should be fair. And now it's like free for all, So now we are hearing that there are no controls. And as an organizer, sometimes we face a situation where suddenly another organizer launches a show just barely a few, couple of weeks before you in the same venue. And the venue says that now it's a competition. So how do you manage? What's your policy about theme protection, if any?
Well, specifically on theme protection, we have a certain period on both sides, both before the show as well as after the show. Once the show is confirmed with us, we provide 1 month, 30 days plus 30 days. But one may argue that that's not adequate. Okay, but then this is a debatable one. And in India, we still don't have
30 days.
Yes.
And what about you, Sudeep?
Mine is case of, 30 days? 30 days is, what is the...
Or is it negotiable?
It is 30 days plus it's negotiable as Mr. Anbu says, because you cannot be, rigid on this point.
30 days is by default, right?
30 days it looks nominal, it looks justified to me.
Mr. Anbu.
Okay, I think, we also don't face this quite often, but we do face this, in 1 or 2 instances. And that this has, generally come as an acceptable one. But we'll have to find a sort of industry standard, at least at the national level, involving all the 4 or 5 major venues in India. Coming back to the other, the bigger point of marketing, I think Sudeep shared, a lot of points, but we primarily focus on just 3, very important. First is quality. Whole lot of things goes into it. Venue quality, you can break that into 6 or 7 major areas, and there is no shortcut to it. You must have all those areas, including safety. We put whole lot of, importance on safety. We are probably, one venue where we have the IMS, Integrated Management System certification, which involves both quality, environment, and, safety in place. Which is primarily to help exhibition organizers and their own clientele. And second is customer focus. Again, as part of it, I think he has already mentioned a few things. We also have our own, ways of creating enabling environment as well as incentivizing the customers who stay with you. Okay?
Okay, so
We
may
don't-
I intervene you here, Mr. Arbu, and go to KV. You know, how do you manage this important question of theme protection? What is your policy? 1 month?
Negotiable, as you said.
But what is by default? Is there a period by default that you would not allow exhibition on the same subject to take place? Let's say by default you have a policy?
It is more the market driven actually. Two shows probably cannot survive if they're close to each other.
Precisely for this reason,
yeah.
like we are facing a situation as an organizer where, you know, in the same venue we have been doing a show for years, some other show suddenly comes and says that we will do before a couple of weeks or 3 weeks before your show. You know. And when we go to the venue, they say that, look, it's open market. You know. Now, if ITPO has no restriction, why do you want me to have a restriction? We have a restriction of 2 weeks. You know. So let's use this opportunity to come up with some kind of a solution that whether we need this some kind of a theme protection, and if yes, what should be the period? You know. So by default, you don't have a policy.
We don't, and we will definitely not encourage something if it is going to jeopardize somebody else's event. But as such, there is no policy, and if a national policy is made, and we will be more than happy to be part of it.
Wonderful.
And I have a point.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. When we are talking about trade fairs marketing, of course, all the venues are trying to excel and offer best services in terms of venues. But in terms of helping organizers market their shows better, we are working on a couple of initiatives. I don't know, maybe most of the organizers are based in Delhi and Bombay. When people come to do shows in Hyderabad, they come here. Everything is new for them. And we are an established organization. We have very good relationships with media, the government, whatever local support in terms of outdoor advertising, whatever is there, we are there. The expert and connect is already built. We could play a role in terms of facilitating them in effectively reaching the
Virtually become partners of organizers, you know, rather than just a service provider.
Yeah, we are
That's
working
a very
on that.
important thought.
And second aspect is data. When somebody comes to do a show, for him reaching out to his target audience, he is looking at more of the catchment of this region. So for him, building database is a huge challenge. So we are looking at, you know, getting a data pool so that we help people who organize shows here by collecting this data and sharing it with them. There could be issues there, but the whole thing can be inbuilt into the venue itself. When somebody is hiring a venue, he not only gets space, but support from us and also the data.
So, and can you push the envelope and become partner as in profitability of the show, you know, rather than take a fixed rent?
We are working on it.
You're working.
Couple of discussions.
Okay,
We are working on revenue share and profit share options.
Rather
as well.
than the
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
fixed.
this is another innovation. And now since we are at this topic, and maybe we are talking
May I
to
take a minute more on the same topic? You know, so just I'll throw the question. Think about it. I'll come back to you for the answer. That in this meeting, can we come to a consensus that what should be a healthy gap? You know, what should be the theme protection? You know, 15 days, 30 days. Think about it. You know, so we are going to discuss that. Right.
Since we are on this topic and we have primarily covered all the private or PP, all the venue owners which are like under the PPP model, let's talk to ITPO, which is India's largest venue, and have their perspective on this very important issue.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my views with you as regards ITPO's policy. One thing, I should make some deliberations on 3 points. Number one, as you have rightly said, the theme protection. Yes, theme protection is important for the well-being of the shows and events organized by the organizers. But what would be the timing? It is always debatable. If government makes a policy and if it modifies it, it depends upon the time. It depends upon the trend of the industry. However, ITPO still have a time gap policy, and that time gap policy is for concurrent events. There is a 3 days gap.
3 days.
3 days gap.
Oh my God.
And I think these three, there is basically depend upon the making some logistic arrangements for making the hall available to the other organizer. Means time gap policy in the mind frame of the government and the government organization like ITPU does not have any specific value this time. Though during the various discussions, interactions with the organizers, who are the main client for the venue organizers, venue holders, there is specifically demand for the theme protection. How it is done, this suggestion has not yet come. However, there is a case which was filed by the IEIA in the CCI, and it is still sub judice because we have challenged in the competition appellate tribunal, and it is partly stayed also. So I have nothing to say on that, number one. Number two, we should have, as a venue organizer, we should have a transparent, firm, and well-explained licensing policy, because an organizer will feel very happy to organize its own exhibition by making its economics on basis of those inputs. So it should be there. And on third, I have just to say that whenever you market your venue, it should be the basic parameter of selling or marketing of a venue depends upon the satisfaction of the organizers. If suppose that 60%, 70%, 80% satisfaction level comes from the organizer, then our marketing policy is good. And if it coming lower, means we have to think about our marketing policy. These 3 points I have to mention.
Okay, there could be different views on this issue of theme protection, and but then primarily this topic, the main theme of this session is marketing of trade shows in the 21st century, of which of course theme protection impacts it in a big way, and there could be different ways of looking at this issue. One view could also be that look, theme protection is all good, but we are in a free market. So we are, everyone is free to do businesses as long as they are not doing anything illegal. And secondly, another important thing is that on one side, we say that we have issues related to infrastructure. There is not much of exhibition space available in the market. So if you also, at the same time, reduce the possibility of exhibition organization because of theme protection, that means a lot of other people will not be able to organize shows. This could be another view.
This is too, may I intervene here, as an organizer, I think this is too simplistic a view, because, free market doesn't mean laissez-faire, free for all, So I think at the association level, we'll have to, so can we get some more views from the organizers that whether we need free for all, no gap?
Rajiv?
Yes, there we have one of the very senior members, Pradeep Devia. So tell us.
Hello. Yeah, firstly, I don't understand why this question is mainly posed to venue owners. If you ask me, the venue owners will be quite happy with having the same theme week after week because that's what builds their revenues. I think this should be asked to the organizer because it affects the organizer. When you're talking about 1 month gap, 2 months gap, 6 months gap, I'm sure a lot of organizers will agree that 1 month, 2 months is as good as no gap. And like it was already said, we are a democratic country. We can't have these kind of rules. That's why the work of the association to lay down some terms in terms of what the gap should be, but that cannot be across the board. It should differ from industry to industry. But 1 month gap in any industry, you'll ask any organizer, it's not good enough. It's as good as no gap.
So you're saying 1 month is the minimum? Minimum
is not enough. In
not
some
enough.
cases,
Any other views?
even a 1 year gap is not sufficient.
Any other views from any other organizers? Organizers, please. Yeah.
Sanjeev? Uh, I did one show for, rechargers. And
How much gap? Come to the point.
the gap was 1 week, but it's in a different venue in Mumbai. And today, both the shows don't exist.
Yeah, that's the pain point. That as an organizer, I can tell you confidently that finally it doesn't help anyone, including the venues. Because if we are two competing shows on the same subject and if we kill each other, then it hurts the venue also.
But Sanjeev, how will you handle egos within associations? It's like a president of a recharger association Delhi and a recharger association Mumbai. They all want to take a lead, and they all want to host a show. And then there is somebody from a very big corporate, and he also wants to host a show. And they think they can do it better than the other.
So that's cutthroat, isn't it? So definitely, I think we need, as an association, we need some kind of ethical standard that how we would not, stretch or step onto each other's feet, by saying that. Okay,
but
at
Sanjeev,
least,
I mean, if you are doing a tourism show and somebody else think they can do better than you, how can you stop them? That is the question. But yes, we would want you to prosper, do better, and we know that for tourism industry, it is going to be good if one show grows.
The question here is that if you can do better than me, why just couple of weeks before me or after me? Why not?
Yeah, the idea
why not
is
3 months away?
The idea is I want to prove I'm better than you.
But being near me,
No, but there, maybe the other thing of non-availability of venues also comes into picture. If there are no venues because there is a gap of 3 months or 5 months.
No, these are planned incursions into, as an organizer, I can tell you that, look, this is an important question.
Even in
so
the last
any other
edition,
views? Yeah.
Can I talk, please?
Yes. Yeah, please.
Gentlemen, thank you. You have given us such valuable information, but you have given us all the valuable information for the subject which we will be having tomorrow, right? Now, from what I see, we are supposed to be discussing trade fair marketing in today's world, right? Now, if you think, Rajiv, I'm just going to go away in 2 minutes, sorry, you've got it all wrong. All right. Now, my point is that we're talking about virtuals, we're talking about online to print line, we're talking about theme protection, we're talking about time gaps, we're talking about CCI. No, hang on. Right. How many in this room have heard of Brian Montgomery? Raise your hands. Brian Montgomery, right?
Montgomery exhibitions.
Right. Brian Montgomery was the modern day messiah of the exhibition world we are living in today, right? Our dear friends from Germany were the old messiahs, right? It changed over the century, and then Brian Montgomery, post the war, brought it in the modern frame of what we are doing here today, right? And his basics, that's what I'm going to come to. Let's come to the basics. The basics say there is an organizer, and he has certain very strong arms. The freight forwarder, me. The stand designer, Binu. The venues now, which are taking a very important role. They combined with the organizer on top, as Pradeep has said, will take the role of what we are trying to discuss over here, trade fair marketing in today's world. Now, many people say I'm from the old school. I'm not old, but I do come from the old school. Very simple. How do we take a 5,000 meter show, set it up, you've got the space on rent, you sell it out, you get the stand designer, it's a rental game. And then how do you market it that the man who comes in takes it and goes away? Of course, times have changed. We all know that. And we've got things like media, we've got things online, print line, internet. I'm suppose in the 21st century, it's going to be like Star Trek. But virtual will not go, virtual will never come, as David mentioned this morning. It did not come 30 years ago, and it will not come 30 years later. So if we can get some ideas, how just to increase the meterage, right? Something very basic. And how can the freight forwarder just bring in the freight, give it, and take it away? Basics, gentlemen.
Okay. Yeah, I think we were deviating a little bit from the main main theme, which is marketing.
No, in my view, it concerns marketing. One thing leads to other. So we were discussing marketing, and theme protection is like you market only if you exist. So you know what I mean.
See, there are very limited period for organizing the exhibitions. We cannot organize exhibitions around the year in all for 12 months. We have a very peak period, like 2 months or 3 months, where maximum exhibitions are organized. So it will happen. So you cannot control the gap or the theme period or whatever you want. Market will drive the situation, and it will be organized accordingly. No one can control the gap or whatever is there. It is the market driven. We cannot do anything as organizer.
Okay, let's move ahead. Let's go to some other topic. Maybe Ranjit.
Yeah, I'm Ranjit from CII. I just want to give a perspective of what we at CII try to do to market our exhibitions in a slightly different manner. I think many organizers would be also following this pattern, but just a small way which we try to do. Our exhibitors are our customers. What we try to do, and we have a pretty unique advantage in CII is that we have industry sector desks in CII, and we have specialists who are, aided by the industry leaders. And we try to reach out to our exhibitors or our customers' customer. So when we market an exhibition, we are actually marketing, selling the exhibition, and at a very early stage, we try to do promotion of the exhibition to our customer as well. We in CII are also very fortunate to have very close linkages with government at all levels, central, state, and local levels. So, and they are big stakeholders in many of the sectors in which we do exhibitions. So we do try and get them on board at a very early level, at a very early stage. So if, for example, if we form a kind of a committee or a advisory board for the exhibition, then it helps us, and we go to companies for getting their participation in these exhibitions. We are able to tell them that, for example, if they're in some water treatment or sewage treatment or something for a specific exhibition, we are able to tell them that, I'm just giving an example here, that the Ministry of Urban Development is supporting this initiative. And in India, for sewage treatment and water treatment or water supply, the Ministry of Urban Development is the largest ministry, and they are responsible for funding all the municipalities across India. So that's how we try to market it in a slightly different manner. Perhaps other organizers are also following this model. I'll be happy to learn from them. Thank you.
Yeah, let's get some other views from some service providers.
Hello, everyone. I would like to bring a slightly different perspective to this discussion. So to provide a little bit of context, my name is Niranjan. I'm the founder of HubVents. We are a big data firm for exhibitions and conferences. So when it comes to marketing, when exhibitors and organizers want to market, I think one of the main things that they need to capitalize on is being able to understand their audience profile, right? So there's this that's this well-proven fact in human psychology called email fatigue, right? So one of the main ways by which exhibition organizers try to market and try to get more people to their event is by blasting out emails and doing email campaigns and sending out 20,000 emails to everybody. Now, this email fatigue concept, what it really says is that people start ignoring your emails once the relevance of those emails start going down, right? So now how can you avoid that? So for this, exhibitors need to do targeted marketing. For doing that, they need to be able to understand what are the top interests of their audience. So can you send emails specifically targeted on those interests? Now, learning about your customers, which is pretty much your delegates, is an ongoing process. It happens pre-event itself, right? Where people register into your website, that's one place where you can capture their interest. Now, during the event, Apple recently introduced this amazing technology called iBeacons. Now, with iBeacons, you can actually track the movement of people within an exhibition hall, and you can actually track which sessions are they attending, which exhibitor stalls are they attending. So what are the top interests, what are the trending discussions that are happening. Now all of this is data points that should actually feed into a larger system where you start understanding that Mr. David in his presentation, he talked about selling ROI to exhibitors, right? So when an exhibitor...
May I intervene here? We have
course.
one whole session tomorrow on this, the
Okay,
technologies.
got it.
So definitely we need to learn that. So I have a view here from Mr. Binu, one of the biggest stand builders and contractors. So what is your take on this? On anything you like to speak.
So I'm going to talk various things. Yeah, I agree with my young friend there. Regarding exhibition marketing, as an organizer, once you put the visitor first, I think that's what he's saying, the visitor first, everything follows. You have an assured 20,000 people coming for a technical exhibition. You assure 500,000 people coming for an auto expo. It is done. So I think regarding organizers marketing, the first thing is visitor first. The second thing is, I don't know whether I should venture into it, the protection that organizers are asking. I got a simple question. When Maruti brings out a car, they spend 300 crores to 500 crores or sometimes 700 crores to bring a new car. They don't tell Hyundai that you don't bring another car. Or Sony brings out an Xperia. It has costed them probably half.
May I intervene you here?
No, you cannot interfere.
The car and exhibitions are two different things.
Yeah, car and different, this thing
It's
is...
how globally done, sir. We know that globally the venues
don't
have
speak global.
Yeah.
You asked me to give my opinion. I'm giving it. When somebody, Nokia brings out a mobile, they don't tell BlackBerry, you don't bring out a mobile. So you don't have any right to do that. And
steal intellectual property, sir. Nokia can't steal intellectual property of...
So we follow Darwin's theory. Finally, the fittest will survive. And when I come to you, you don't give me any protection. You call X-Pro, you call Diwali, I'm calling out the names of other people sitting here, and I don't get any protection. So why should you get any protection for your intellectual property? I am also holding an intellectual property.
Okay.
Any other views?
You had a view on this.
These days, when you see movies, there's something called as brand partners. Now, Colgate has got nothing to do in a movie, but still you see a heroine, brushing her teeth and Colgate tube lying there. So, as far as you're able to reach out to the maximum lot, that makes more sense. You look to creative ideas, to look at social marketing, media, apps, how you can reach out to. Brilliant idea at this seminar itself is Uber car rentals. This is just an exhibition industry seminar, but they've been able to make a mark in terms of reaching out to the people. I think one has to look at innovative medias and ideas to be able to reach out to the maximum best.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
One more view from the media, and then maybe we can...
One more here. Different view from the secretary. Somebody is holding.
Yeah, in my perspective, this is MQ Syed from Exicon and TradeFed Times. See, the basic idea, what we are discussing over here is how to bring the quality visitor to the exhibition. That's how we are talking about marketing a show. I remember in 2005, there was a show organized by Kotra, Korea Trade Center, wherein they came to us and said, we want 5,000 visitors without investing a single penny in media. Can you do it for us? And visitors too from the specific segment of the exhibit profile. We took the challenge along with their help. They gave us the list of 25,000 databases of India sitting in Korea, and they asked us to approach them through our own media and then call them to the exhibition. And a week prior to the event, they needed a list of the total number of visitors going to come to their show. Surprisingly, there was a 5,000 footfall from the target agency, from the target segment of the visitors at the exhibition of a Korea Trade Center. What I'm trying to say here is that we have been so far focusing on the traditional way of marketing of an exhibition, wherein we have to look into the creative side of it. That's all. Thank you very much.
So, lady, you'd like to, yeah?
Hello, I'm Vandana Malhotra from LEMS. I would, this protection policy, which everybody is discussing a lot. 10 years back, there was a rule in ITPO. There was a gap of 3 months between any exhibition. That time also it was misused. When the rule was there, what we all want today. An exhibition organizer would go and block the dates, pay a little amount, and then ITPO was bound. They could not give you permission because in December this show is about to be held. And I know that in September that exhibition organizer says we cannot hold the show in December, and now no one else can also do it. So we don't need protection policies. It is the survival of the fittest.
Okay, let me just give a different perspective on the whole thing. So far we have spoken and we have collected, these views. Training is important, packages by venue owners, different and possibilities of collaboration and targeted email marketing, use of social media, internet. All these, are, what are all these? I think these are all important marketing tools. These are all, can they be called as tools which help us to market the shows? So, okay, so if these are tools, what about the basic, very...
A small comment by David on this, staggering question of theme protection. How do you do it in US?
A suggested policy, because we're not a dictatorial group by any means, like you are as democracy here in India, it is 60 days. We encourage 90 days, but 60 days. Now the challenge we have is in many of our cities in the United States, for example, Chicago, you could have a show in a certain industry in McCormick Place downtown, and then you could have one 2 weeks later or 2 weeks before or 30 days before at Rosemont near the airport. So our challenge is we have multiple facilities in many cities, but typically it's 60 days in the same venue, ideally 90.
So probably we cannot be a rule to ourselves. From organizers' perspective, I can see clearly that we are missing a point when we say that it's a creature of free market to have no rules. We can keep having this good fight. Here is Sudeep want to say something.
No, I've heard a lot about this, competition policy being set by the venue, by ITPO. The earlier commentator made a very specific comment. You need to understand one thing very clearly. This is a democracy. And we are always talking about the national events in Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay. But supposing if I'm doing something, I am as an organizer, I'm doing an event on a machine tool or on a handicrafts or on car from as far as Odisha or let's say Bihar or Bengal, and there is a national show happening somewhere else. Can you stop me? No, same.
We are missing a point if we. So let's move away from this point.
Yeah, you can move away. But what I'm trying to say is that having a competition policy at the same venue for certain shows are fine, but then the shows India is so widespread, and
about the venue.
There are so many other events happening simultaneously at different places. Let's have it competition. No, let the competition come at the same venue even.
Same venue event?
Yeah.
It's not a good idea because we cannot be a ruler to ourselves. We have to probably do the way the world does. But we have to stop this topic, sir, on popular demand. Oh, yeah, okay.
Just to add one more point to the whole discussion. Why not you take up this as part of IEIA and then bring it as part of the code of conduct? I think you can talk to any number of venues. You'll continue to talk to next 5 years. You won't find the solution because it's left to individual venues. But then I think as part of IEIA, if you can have this as part of the code of conduct, members of IEIA, fine. The moment one company announces and then brings it as part of their IP, the others will have to respect. So we can put certain guidelines for that. So it could be part of the agenda.
Your point is very well taken, sir. We are going to have deliberated at the association level. So this topic should end there. I would propose that we should have a discussion at the IEA, our association level, and then we should find some ways, But I think we'll have to take into account the organizer's perspective rather than the venue provider's perspective and the supplier's perspective, And you want to say something? Yeah, ITPO, we cannot, not let him speak.
But I think that if there is some theme protection, it should be clearly spelled out in the policy of all the organizer venue holders. It should not be negotiable. It should not be. It should not depend upon the mentality and upon the opportunity on the venue organizers. Okay.
So I think we are running out of time, Rajiv. Or still some time? 6:30. Anyone want to speak? Have your say. You still have your chance.
Good evening, everybody. This is Syed Ehsan. I represent Expo India.
Louder, louder.
I would just want to come back to your print medium dying. First question that you raised with.
Oh, that is dead now. That question is dead.
I probably want to just take an opportunity to just talk about it, since we are tied up with one of the print mediums, the number one leading daily, the Times of India. I organize exhibitions for Times of India, and we started with Times, and we have been growing for the last 10 years, and I don't see it dying anyways. And
print media was dying in the West, That was the point.
Okay. So, but in India, it's still doing
yes,
good.
it's alive and
No
thriving,
doubt.
So
Yeah.
so far so good, So
That's
our
good.
exhibition is our exhibition industry like that. So far so good. That was the question.
We have to definitely rely on the print media.
Point taken.
That can be worked out probably with Mr. Umar.
Okay, no, I was making a point earlier regarding, something different. I mean, a different way of looking at trade fair marketing. Because so far what we have discussed, and we've collected all the, we've discussed about what can be called as tools of marketing which help marketing of trade shows. But let's have a look at it in a different, let's have a look at it in a different way. Can we not consider trade fair as a product of trade fair industry, just like there are other products of other industries? Is there any difference? Trade fair is a product of, trade fair organizer. Just like a car is a product of an automobile manufacturer. Or talking of an intangible product, in today's world, let's say any software, which is a product of a software company. So is there any difference? To my mind, I mean, just to give you my perspective, I think there is no difference. Trade fair is just a product just like any other product. So in case an automobile manufacturer, let's talk an example. Let's take the example of the leading car manufacturer in India. Let's say Maruti, for example. For almost 35 years, Maruti is the #1 car seller in India. Okay. Now they are a lot of other companies have come. They have also had their market, but then to be able to continue to be #1, it means something. No. Similarly, let's take an example of, let's say Google. Now Google, initially when there were so many different search engines, there were so many different options, but now it's almost synonymous with finding, and if you need anything, if you need to find anything on the net, you say, oh, let's Google it. You don't even say, let's search for this, you say Google. So why are such products, excellent? There's something which makes it different.
Rajiv, I think that, no two situations are the same, and analogies are never perfect. So we can keep comparing cars with exhibitions, but exhibitions are exhibitions, and cars are cars. So, I mean, that's my personal view, and the idea of this discussion, open forum, was to have good fights.
Yeah.
So I have a good fight with you on this. So are there any other international delegates who know a bit about this venue protection or theme protection policy, which they can enlighten how it happens in their country? Any of you, or is it too hot a topic right now, and you'd not rather like to keep quiet? Yeah.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, it is for organizers. It's life and death, and we have fought a case with ITPO on this very subject. We have litigated it as an association. We have gone to Competition Commission. So it is the hottest topic, and I think it's the time well spent if we deliberate a bit on this. Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Wilfried from Cologne Messe. I have an observation which plays into this marketing topic. Marketing is also pricing. I did an observation for shows in India in the food sector, and I observed there's a lot of two pricing strategies. Actually, most of the shows that have international exhibitors, they follow a national price for Indian exhibitors and an international price for exhibitors abroad. And I was wondering if that is necessary, because there's two issues here, I believe. One issue is an image issue. If you want to portray a show as a leading show, as an international event, as relevant to the entire nation, then I think you shouldn't have that feeling of a discrimination. And there's another factor. I think you can generate more square meters by having the same price and rather going into an early bird scheme where you say, okay, first come, first serve, also associated with a lower price, and then you go up with the price. So I wonder how the organizers here think about this.
Okay, a comment from me as an organizer. We do have a slightly dual pricing policy where the dollar rate is slightly higher, about 10%. This is more to protect us from currency fluctuation rather than penalizing the international participants. But I would agree that sometimes, our instincts are, like many of us, when we were students, we go to Europe, USA, we have to pay a very different fee, So, maybe we are sort of programmed to think that, look, maybe we could charge a little more. But I agree with you that it is counterproductive. And gradually, as an organizer, we are, going away from that policy, and it should be an equitable one price, although we need some protection from currency fluctuation. So, if there are no other views, yeah.
Just one last conclusion. My name is Abhay Bhatia. I'm from a company called Proshalize. In fact, I'm a speaker tomorrow at the 10 o'clock session. Just one point. I think all the trade fair organizers should just keep in mind that marketing needs to go on 365 days a year. You can't just have a last 1 or 2 months of marketing and then expect traditional media or digital media to do the rest of the bit. Digital media is a lot more cheaper than actually what you think, and it's a lot more simpler. So I would invite everyone to come tomorrow for the 10 o'clock session to know more about this. Thank you so much.
That's the future. Digital is the future. So I think we can wrap it up. We are well in time. I hope you like this new format, which is, we intended to have some good fights, and I hope there are no hard feelings. And thank you very much for participating and contributing. And here we are at your service, today's presenters, and we just bow before you. And we expect a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
That was one entertaining and encouraging panel discussion that happened right here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are again going to take another break. I request all the delegates present here to leave the hall as we have to redo the stage for a highly entertaining program by High-Techs. While we turn around this hall in the next 30 minutes or so, you're requested to visit hall number 1 opposite to this hall where the Credai Property Show is being held on a very special invitation by the organizers, and it will be their honor to have you there. I request you to kindly follow the person with the flag. You will see there will be 2 members with the flag there. If you would kindly follow them out, you will be able to reach hall number 1. I request everybody to follow. It's a single gathering. Kindly, all of you, please follow the flag together and regather here at 6:50 sharp.